In this video, I'm going to be taking you through a realistic session of my live trading. I'm going to show you inside my complete process. I'm going to show you the strategy that I use, all of the indicators, how I set my charts up, along with specific trade entries and exits, the real unfiltered profit and losses that come from each trade. So you can basically watch for my strategies, learn, and apply it to your own trading. I've been day trading for over 8 years now. I want to put you inside my session, show you how I set everything up and what I look at. In today's model, I'm going to be risking $500. As always, my daily profit goal is going to be $4,000, but I've yet to hit a $10,000 day on YouTube. So that's going to be the big goal for today to see if we can hit. These videos are part of a series. I like to make them to show you what we're working on in our trading community, because while it's amazing to watch the private team crushing things, I want to, as always, provide value to you guys on YouTube and show you what we're working on in the trading space. So that's exactly what we're going to do in today's video. It's about 9:30 right now. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. We're going to sit down, set our session up, and then I'm going to show you how I look for trade number one. So as always, whenever I'm starting a trading session, I have my trading view, I have my exchange, and I have my Notion pulled up. If you want to follow along with any of the custom resources that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, go in the description, follow me on Instagram, and DM me the word tools. That's going to give you access to a Notion that has all of the custom things that I've built for trading. That's how I set up this side of my monitors. On this side, okay, I have a view of 3 different windows showing me the macro Bitcoin chart on a weekly, and then whatever pair I'm looking at on a daily, and this should be a 1-hour view, which is basically going to show me the overall look of what we're dealing with today. Crypto is moving down substantially right now. One of the best parts about being a day trader is I can actually make money regardless of whether the market's moving up or down. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here in a little bit. While everyone is basically having no opportunities in crypto, I'm able to basically follow the same process every single day, regardless of whether the market's moving up or down. All right, but once I have all of my monitors set up, the first thing that I'm going to do is go over into my Notion tracker, and I follow my daily trading process that I set up on Notion here. So I'm going to start with my pre-session checklist, and I'm going to go in and make sure that I'm following and doing all of these things. So first thing is going to be checking for important news events. On my trading view, I'm going in, clicking on this calendar and checking to see what we have as far as high impact news. This is the button to click for high impact. We're really not seeing anything past 8:30 until 2:45. So today should be a no news, simple, pretty straightforward day. Nvidia has earnings today. So that's going to sort of drive where the traditional markets are going to go, and it's going to impact crypto as well. Okay, but overall, we've been moving a ton down, so it wouldn't be surprising to see some sort of rebound today in price action, but we're going to be fluid with that and trade it basically whatever direction it's going to move. So next thing that we're going to look at is our daily bias. And what we're going to do is go over into our multi-chart setup, and I'm just going to be looking at the larger time frame of Bitcoin overall. I'm going to go into a daily, a 4-hour, and see what we have going on for our larger time frame analysis. Okay, we're sort of in a free fall right now, so price could either dramatically keep moving down or it could sort of suck back up into this area. So there's no real general overall indication of where the market's going to go for the day. We also have in our Discord a daily analysis section for you guys in the public, where one of our head analysts, John, he does candlestick daily analysis, where in this case yesterday we took the previous day low, closed bearish, looking to close lower today. So overall we have a daily bias of bearish. Okay, so overall it does look like things could continue moving to the downside, but once again I am going to just sort of trade the market patterns and not lean too much on the daily bias for today, just because there's not that much there. I have my tools set up, I have my watch list set up. What I'm doing is flipping through my macro list. So I go on to Bybit here and I flip through all of these pairs. Whenever I find something interesting or a pair that I want to trade, I just flag them in green, and then they're going to be in my green folder. I'm going to put them in my specific system setup. So now I have all the stuff that I'm looking in the systems. I'm doing my analysis. I know what's going on for the day. I know what overall the market's telling me. And now it's time to get into finding specific trading patterns. Okay, so next thing that I'm doing is sort of going to like a 15 or a 5-minute time frame to figure out where we are in the current trend. What I'm trying to do with this strategy is find key areas where prices moved up or down into, where they're going to have a reaction and then have a continuation in the opposite direction. So what I'm really looking to do is evaluate this current trend and then try to find key areas where the price could bounce off of before having a response. If this is to sort of get a bounce off of some area like this and trade all the way up, this is going to open really, really big trading opportunities, because if I can pick a really specific entry where it doesn't go below this point before it comes back here, I can make 15x what I'm risking. So if I'm risking $500, I can make $7,500 in profit risking 500 by sniping one of these key levels. And all I'm looking to do is just keep my risk really contained. I'm going for one of those big wins today, of course. Okay, so that's going to be the overall goal, what I'm looking to do. Now I'm going to go back down on a 5-minute. And oftentimes what I like to do is sort of look at the temporary trend that we have right here and just draw a line along these critical levels and try to see where the price is broken and where it could come down and retest. Now, if the price wants to come and sort of shoot down immediately immediately and test into this green strip right here. I have an order set to enter, and then I'm just going to try to ride this up for several hours. Okay, and the reason that I'm targeting this key area is because I'm following my trading session plan. This trade, whether it fills me or not, is hitting a few key criteria. First thing I'm looking for is something called a change of character, okay, which is basically where a higher high is being made, breaking out of this trend, which is sort of signaling the first potential move into a new trend direction. If you don't know all these technical terms, at the end of this video, I'm going to put a technical analysis guide that you can watch that's going to get you up to par so you can watch all of these other videos and know sort of a little bit more of what I'm talking about. But first thing is change of character. Second thing that I'm looking for is what's called a fair value gap, where we have 1, 2, 3 candles. The middle candle is leaving a gap between wicks, which is our fair value gap zone. And what I'm doing is looking to enter on the middle of those fair value gaps, which is often a level where price will dip into and then sort of reverse around. We've even seen it right here in this current trend. Price reverted back down to this fair value gap and then continued to move up higher. Okay, there's a bunch of other criteria and data that we've tested, but this is what I'm going to be talking about in today's video to keep it super simple, but I am factoring in a ton of other things when I'm taking these trades. All right, something that I always like to consider when I'm entering trades is that trends tend to move in 5 wave patterns. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I would ideally like to see is this level be breached to the upside, and then we have some sort of retest down here before a continuation up. Now, we didn't really have a break of 3 because this is a really long 5th wave. So I am okay with a change of character and then price coming back down to retest one of these key areas to be able to play a complete flip of this trend if we are to see it push up. But now we basically have our entire session set up. The only thing that I have to do now is watch for these fair value gaps, sort of track the analysis along the way. And we're going to see if this trade wants to pull down right now and fill us into this first trade. Okay, so in this trade setup, what I would have really liked to see is for price to sort of pull back down and immediately test this level and start having a move up. Okay, this could come down and respond to it and work out beautifully. However, considering the daily bias and considering that we do have a potential response off of these key levels up here, I'm going to be looking for a new trade setup, potentially even a short position. So I'm going to clear out this order and look to place another trade. All right, so I found another trade opportunity here on Solana. Once the market sort of pushed its way up, it started to sort of lose momentum here and create a head and shoulders pattern. So there's a nice fair value gap that's running into resistance. I took a position here. Even though we didn't get a perfect change of character, I started to notice that the momentum is shifting, and this is going to definitely be a weak area that we're going to probably break through. So I wanted to position myself into this key area to sort of start to fill up this space. I think the market could roll over potentially into the afternoon, so I wanted to have some exposure on this position. So I just need this to clear this level, break under, and I can reduce risk. I'm going to go for a decent sized win here. If we hit below this level, this is going to be $3,300 in profit. So we just got to wait and see if we can get a response. All right, so now we have the change of character and the sort of capitulation candle. We're up 400 on the position. I am going to let this sort of break these levels fully, and then I'm going to reduce risk. I just don't want to suffocate the trade. So oftentimes when I'm trading, I want to look at these key levels and make sure I can let the trade sort of breathe without just snuffing out the opportunity. If I can get a solid couple more candles under here, I'm going to reduce risk to over this high potentially, and then to break even pretty soon. So I'm going to let this play out. We'll see if we can get a nice big juicy drop. If we can get this candle to close bearish, I'm reducing risk. I'm eating my $1 $8 granola bars. So we're going to add the -8 to the P&L for the day. Now we have a really clean break underneath this level. What I'm going to wait for is for me to achieve a 1 to 4 risk reward. And then once I get that, I'm basically going to walk my stop loss into profit, assuming that we continue to see a sell-off in this market movement. Now, what I do understand as well, if we sort of scroll out to a larger view of this back to our daily perspective, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have an impulse past 3 and then a pull down here, which could turn into a B, C, and then we take a move higher. So there is a high possibility that this is going to maybe move down slightly more and then reverse up. So I'm hoping that I'm able to walk my stop loss into take profit before something like this happens. But this is sort of how trading works. You have to allow yourself in your positions to breathe and come potentially back up to break even in order to have the volatility to be able to roll down if the markets are to shift. This is about positioning and then allowing the markets to sort of move. So one of the biggest misconceptions that people will say is if you have profit, take it. You have to let your edge play out. So I'm going to do exactly that. Let this trade breathe. All All right, so we sort of did fail off of this trend level. If we are to break this level, now I'm going to reduce my stop loss a little bit into profit. I'm hoping that this doesn't sort of pump up through my level and we continue to break this low. That's going to really tell us if we can confirm the downtrend or not, in which case I don't want it going past this high. So I still got to let the trade breathe. There's a high chance it just pokes up, but I'm hoping for a drop. So I'm just going to adjust my stop loss a little bit into profit here. Like I said, once we get that 1 to 4, I'm going to start walking my stop loss really into take profit, but I want to let this trade sort of breathe. So I have a notification set at this level. I also am going to set a notification at this level so that I'll basically get pinged when one of these two things happens. Now I'm just going to let the trade run. Okay, so we just hit our 1 to 4, which means that now I can start trailing my stop loss. So I'm now going to move my stop loss down to this most recent high here, which is now going to lock in 1.8 risk factors. So just shy of $1,000 in profit. Okay, we just responded off of this fair value gap, which was actually the entry we were looking for earlier in the session. So price finally came down and is responding off of this low. So I'm just going to let this continue to run throughout the session. I want to see if we can have the market sort of just sell off in a more macro way rather than just trying to find these small trades. I mean, $1,900 is really good, but I am, like I said, going for sort of the big win. So I'm going to lock in right around a guaranteed 1,000 in profit here, and I'm going to let this sort of play out, see if this can break down. But this is kind of cool to see. This was our entry this morning, and that's exactly where we're starting to get a response off of. So just sort of to show you the power of certain parts of the chart. Trade is really starting to move nicely in our direction. What I'm doing now is walking my stop loss down on this current trend here. I want to play into momentum now. I really don't want to sit in this and let this come all the way back up. So I'm going to put my stop loss right at this point, and now basically I have nearly 4 risk factors locked in, but I'm going to allow this to sort of sell off, and if it wants to continue pushing to the downside, great. Otherwise, I sort of have a near 1 to 4 trade locked in. Okay, so in this situation, I know that this trend sort of looks like it has a little bit more to go, but I doubt that it's going to slice easily through this area right here. So I'm sort of just putting my stop loss over this high point, and I'm going to see if we can get momentum through this level. If it wants to push and dump this level, great. If it's going to come up and stop me out, it's going to stop me out in the money at basically a little over 1 to 4 now, but I would expect some sort of temporary support, if anything, on this level. But if this is to break this low level, it will probably happen really, really quickly and with a big candle, because there is going to be some support left over here. What I've noticed though is that on these previous reattempts on lows, we have had pretty significant pushes down in Solana recently. So if this is to happen and we don't get a rebound here, this could be a nice push down. If we see that sort of momentum candle to the downside, I'm going to take the trade off after the momentum dies, but there is a chance that we do sort of loop up here and stop out. I really wanted to break this low, but if it doesn't, it wants to pop, I'm getting out. I'm locking in this move. Oh, it's starting to break that low. Can we have a big expansive candle? Oh, and we did end up getting that big candle. Stop loss is moving down even more now. So we got about 4K on the table. So I'm going to go ahead and take this trade off here. So we're out here for about $3,700. This started to reverse. This could have a continuation and a move lower, but this is a really, really nice move. 7.48 risk factors, which is really, really nice. Okay, so now all I'm doing is inputting this into my trade journal. Okay, nice juicy win. So I was able to lock in 37.35. I was definitely more patient about this trade, but obviously now we're still continuing to move down. Maybe this ends up moving lower throughout the session. All I know is that for a first trade, if I'm locking in 7.5 risk factors, that's a really good risk reward, which basically means that I can lose like 7 trades in a row and still be break even on the day. So it puts me in a position to be aggressive to try to hit our larger goals. So we are at that $3,700 right now. I'm going to see how low this market move wants to drop here. Then I'm going to show you how I evaluate the market to hopefully try to find trade setup number 2. All right, so price failed to break this low level here and left behind this fair value gap after we got this big push up in price action. This isn't technically a change of character. This is something called a change in state of delivery. It's sort of an impulse candle here with a fair value gap. And then price did pull through this fair value gap, but then immediately responded up. So I'm hoping that we are to get some sort of bounce through this movement over this high for me to be able to reduce risk on my second trade. But we have moved down basically in a straight line. So getting some sort of impulse into a fair value gap is something that I am looking for. Additionally, we're now starting to come down to test these low responsive areas. This is going to be an area of volatility, so I am going to be looking to reduce risk if we can get this candle to close here over this high. This is working out really nicely. We just got a change of character here. I just need this candle to close above this high, hopefully, and we can reduce risk down to 0, which is going to be amazing. I'm actually going to reduce risk in profit here at the fair value gap because we got in a little bit lower. Oftentimes what I'll do is I'll aim for an entry, but if the price wants to dip below, if this trade is still valid, I'll get in at the current market price. So I was actually able to get in a lot lower on this trade. So we got about 7 seconds left for this to close above highs here, and I can reduce risk. Okay, we got a nice solid push here. I'm going to reduce risk to a little bit in the profit here. So position came back down and stopped us out for break even, a little bit of profit. I'm going to call it a break even trade. A little bit hopeful to maybe get a reversal this early. If we have a continuation and another drop, I'm going to be watching and sort of trying to take trades to play this overall reversal because I think that we can bounce up at least a little bit in today's session. But I'm not going to try to fight the trends. I'm going to let this develop a little bit more, eat some lunch, and then try to find trade number 3. Trying to get dialed for the summer. I've been locking in high protein diet, tracking everything on Whoop, get everything in check by June 21st. Okay, so this is your signal. If you're not dialed in, this is your sign to dial in. I'm gonna hold myself accountable. June 21st, I'm gonna post an update video. I'm gonna be completely shredded down again. Time to lock in, guys. Don't wait for spring to sneak up. Healthy body, healthy mind, good for trading. Okay, so we do have a trade opportunity here. We have a change of character fair value gap. I'm going to stop talking and hopefully put a position in to get into this trade. So I'm going to target the midpoint here, set up sort of a hasty stop loss and take profit. And I'm going to try to punch this order in quickly. Okay, so we have our order. Okay, this is a type of trade that I particularly like taking because if you see, we've had this level and this level contact this trend closer and closer in proximity. And then we finally pushed through it. We have a definitive displacement candle here with our buy zone into a midpoint of a fair value gap right here. So this is going to test this fair value gap on our entry right as it's contacting the overside of this trend. Hopefully it doesn't miss it, but if this is to come down and fill this and get a response, this is going to be a potential area where we could get a nice reset in price throughout this session. So I'm happy to take this trade. I think that this is a really good trade idea. We are in our position. Okay, so a little bit unfortunate. We did take a loss on this trade here. So I'm just going to input this in and we're just going to have to look for another setup. Negative 618 on that trade. Brings us down to $3,100 in profit for the day. Both of these were 5 out of 5 confidence trades, I will say. Something good to keep in mind is it's okay to have stop outs because this is putting us in positions to be able to make really nice trades. Okay, had this have worked out, we could have made 15, 20 risk factors. So we really need to keep our head screwed on and basically just treat these losses like opportunity cost as long as we're following good setups. Okay, so one more stab at this sort of market move. I really would love to play the flip of this overall trend. I smell it coming. I know we're going to get some sort of positive momentum. Failed to break that low again, and so now we have a fair value gap into that zone. So I do have another order in here to try to... Oh, I'm already long. Wow, I'm already in. I'm in long, I guess. I read this as 39 and I put in 93. All right, so that was a mistake, but we were able to make a little bit of a gain. Okay, so now I'm going to actually try to do this position properly. So hopefully we can get in. If it fails off of breaking a new low here and taps into this fair value gap and then breaks up and trends back up into a range here, this is going to be a nice potential trade here. Okay, nice. We're in. We have a nice clean entry at a clean level. Now we just need to see a break above this high or break of that high. Okay, so this is making the exact move that I wanted to see. So we got our alert of this high being broken. I really want to see this high push up because this is signaling strength and it failed to break under that level. Fair value gap was responded off of nicely. So we are seeing a really good entry so far. All the other confluences that I'm not showing you guys on YouTube are lined up for this trade as well. So things are looking good. I need to close over this level and I'm going to go ahead and bring this stop loss up to this level and we're going to reduce the risk to 0. Just need a little bit more momentum, but I would really love for this to be that low before we get a nice move up into the afternoon session. Okay, so if this candle closes above this high, we're going to be reducing risk. Trade's starting to move really nicely. Nice. Just the momentum that we wanted. Okay, so getting a really nice move, break above this high in that resistance zone, which is really bullish. I'm assuming we'll probably run into some resistance up into this point. What I'm always looking for when we have these big breaks of resistance is what's going on underneath these more key points. points on the larger trend. So I'm going to scroll out a bit and we're going to take a look at the larger time frames. Okay, so starting from that low to this low, we already did kind of get a little bit of a response there previously, but this is going to be a heavy resistance in addition to the underside being exactly right there too. So depending on how quickly this wants to approach it, like if it wants to go straight up to this, I'm probably just going to take the profit off for another 5 risk factors. If it wants to slowly approach it, then I'm probably going to trail this the proper way. Okay, I have my finger on the trigger to get out of this trade, but I do want to let it bounce off of this lower trend line maybe. Yeah, Bitcoin's dumping. This is 100% going to respond and end up coming down into my stop loss. I got the jump on it a little bit just because I saw Bitcoin producing a fully black candle and Solana didn't respond as quickly, so I knew that that was probably going to happen. All right, so I gave the market some time to sort of make a move. It ended up moving up a ton. We were just a little bit wrong about the timing of the Solana trade, but I did find a really nice opportunity, in my opinion, on Atom. We have a beautiful sell signal here. Volume starting to dry up into the afternoon session. Beautiful fair value gap producing after this change in state of delivery right here. So price is starting to drop. I'm going to look to reduce risk, hopefully really quickly on this trade. But if we at all get price movement from Atom back down towards lows, we could be looking at a massive risk reward trade. So I do want to open myself up. This is a really tight position, so if we do start to get a drop, this is going to be really good. All right, so starting to get a nice move in response off of this Atom trade. We're up like $2,100. This can change very, very quickly, but this was a really nice, unique sort of level to be able to get filled on. So this is the high potential to be the big trade. I'm going to jinx the shit out of it. Anyways, monitoring Atom. We have stop loss reduced to break even, hoping for a nicer move to the downside. Okay, so we did get a close finally underneath this level on this candle, so we can reduce risk into take profit. I really don't want that to be the outcome of the trade. We're up 2,300 right now. All right, so I've reduced risk on this position to just over this high here. What I'm hoping is that this low is broken and we get a really, really big push, but we are up $4,500 on this trade. I'm hoping it's a big one, but I do have the risk factors locked in case we do have momentum up. Right now, I'm gonna go hit a workout real quick. I'll be watching this trade and managing it while I'm at the gym, and hopefully we get a nice drop through this level. So up 5,400 on this trade. I'm about to move the stop loss down, basically locking in guaranteed, I want to say close to 10 risk factors. Grab some dinner. After I eat, I'm going to check to see if there's any more trades to take later into the evening, but that's only if there's something really, really good. I'm not going to force any trades because we're already up 8,000 on the day, which is one of the daily records. All right, so it's about 9:45 right now. I've put myself in a position where I don't have to continue trading throughout the day. Okay, this trade on Atom, we just closed out of. We were able to get almost 9 total risk factors out of this trade. Okay, took a really, really nice entry in here. Super tight stop loss on this trade, which was awesome. We got a push down, came almost back up to stop us out for break even. Luckily, it didn't. Came down, continued trading down for the session. Okay, I let this run a little bit. We ended up breaking down lower here, right in this area right here, for a total after fees of $43.53 on that trade. Okay, a bit unfortunate that I wasn't able to extract this total amount of the trade. It would have been 13 risk factors or closer to 6,000, which would have been the largest smog trade that I've taken, but still pretty amazing result came out of that trade. So really good to see accurate, precise, manage risk and manage the trade properly. And we got a little bit of luck, which is good. Okay, so overall for the day, we were expecting the market attitude to be a bit bearish. Okay, so after the New York session opened, we did try to take a temporary long here off of this level. We never got filled. So then we played the next available opportunity to take a trade. You can see we have a nice fair value gap in here, head and shoulders pattern. So I took a short position with risk over that high. Trade broke down really nicely, reduced risk to break even. Trade came up once again, really close to stopping us out for break even, but didn't. Came down, broke that trend level again. And this is where we started to see a significant dump off in the market. After this sort of big push candle, this is where I decided to take profit off the table. You can see that was for a $3,735, which is a really, really nice way to start off off the day. Okay, once I saw this trend extend, we got a buy signal here. Okay, we got this really decisive candle producing a fair value gap. I wanted to take an entry here to see if I could play this overall trend break to the upside. And you can see we got a really nice initial response to the point where I reduced risk, and then this ended up coming down and stopping the trade out for break even. Then I was basically monitoring this trend that I wanted to see when it was going to decide to make a full break. You can see we have a change of character here. We have a fair value gap right in this trend. So I thought as it would come back down and retest this level, this is going to be a perfect level to enter. So I set up an order. Okay, you can see price came right through there and just came clean through, stopped us out. So we lost $618 on that trade. Okay, once again, we had another really nice fair value gap after a change of character. Still trying to sort of play this overall trend break. Okay, this one we did get a nice response to the upside. So I reduced risk back down to 0. And then this trade actually came all the way back down and once again stopped us out for break even. And the sad part is this ended up going all the way up throughout the session. You can see what ended up happening. So we definitely did leave some risk factors on the table there, but that's just the way it happens. And it's funny, I really don't trade Atom all that much, but I did see that into weakness, we were pushing up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure completed on Atom. And then we had sort of this impulse with a sell signal here. And then there was a really, really nice fair value gap that was produced. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a risk over this candle here and see if we can get this to sort of sell off and break this overall trend. And that's where we entered, got the change of character there. Price came up, almost stopped us out for break even, and then ended up selling off throughout the rest of the session. All right, broke down a little bit more. Then I ended up taking the profit off the table for about 8.9 risk factors for a total of that 43.53 at the end, giving us a grand total on the day of 7,500. Now, this is one of my biggest single day trading days with the smog strategy so far. This is really exciting. And even though I was shooting for that sort of 10,000 mark, I think that I did a really good job managing risk and picking good trades. Obviously, the volatility in the market with sort of the crypto meltdown right now definitely helped open up a lot of opportunities for me to be able to take. A few differences would have made a big difference to the P&L. We could have really extended over the $10,000 to $15,000 mark, which is something that I'm aspiring to do this year in 2025 to be able to have those days. But overall, I think I executed really, really well. Okay, if you want to start using all these tools yourself, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and DM me the word tool. I'll have that sent over to you. If you're still here, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you like this type of trading content. And I put these videos out every 2 weeks. Okay, check out more of these videos right here. But until next time, I will see you all in the next video.